What you tell yourself is incredibly important for many, many, many reasons. I'm going to explain what those reasons are in this video. Hang in there. This affects anybody who ever has thoughts. Hang in there. First off, what we tell ourselves affects our physical state, our physiology. Our mind and body are related. The body affects the mind affects the body. Imagine that wherever you are right now, you saw what you thought was a snake on the floor. And you were a person who just happens to be afraid of snakes. You would have all kinds of physiological, emotional, psychological reactions occur. Your heart would start to beat more rapidly. Your mouth would go dry. Your palms would start to sweat. You're entering into the fight flight mode. You're preparing to protect yourself or to run out of the room. You're reacting to that snake. But if you then realized that what you thought was a snake was really an extension cord, all of those reactions would go away. Your heart would return to its normal rate, your mouth would be moist again, your palms would be dry. You might even laugh at yourself for thinking that it was a snake in the first place, and now you're releasing serotonin, endorphins, all the feel good hormones. Every thought that we think creates a corresponding chemical cascade within the body. The point of this story is it doesn't matter whether there was a snake there or not. All of those reactions, positive or negative, were created by your thoughts. If you're somebody who's ever dealt with anxiety, you know that you can be someplace perfectly safe. Nothing bad is going on, but get yourself worked up into a panic attack just by the thoughts that you're entertaining. And so the thoughts that we think create a corresponding chemical cascade within our bodies. And when we are constantly under stress, when we're telling ourselves stressful thoughts, we're worrying, we're anticipating negative outcomes, we're playing the what if game, that is taxing on the system. We're not meant to be in a fight flight response for extended periods of time. It was meant to be a short term burst of adrenaline to protect us if we needed to protect ourselves against a predator. But we are in a constant state of hypervigilance. Our fight flight response is being triggered by negative news that we see, things that are going on in the world, graphic images that we see on TV. We are constantly in a fight flight response. See, our nervous system doesn't know what's going on out there in the world. It relies on certain cues to know what to turn on or off. One of those cues is our thinking. What we tell ourselves, what we're thinking, what we're saying aloud is communicating to our nervous system and causing us to release whatever chemicals would be appropriate to the thoughts. And so that's one of the reasons why our thinking is so important. It affects our physiology. If you are constantly exhausted, drained, in a lot of pain, you have low libido, low energy, low motivation, you get sick easily, you get sick frequently, this could actually be connected to the thoughts you're entertaining. This is actually good news when you think about it, because although we may not always be able to control the circumstances going on out there in the world, we can learn to change how we think about it. And I'll talk about that another time. Another reason why what we're telling ourselves is so important is what we're thinking, what we're saying impresses upon our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the part of your mind that runs 90 to 95% of all of your behavior. Most of what you do from one day to another is driven by your subconscious mind. And the subconscious can be programmed to do whatever we want it to do. And so, what we're saying to ourselves gets imprinted onto our subconscious mind. You might be having a bad day. You're beating yourself up. I'm such an idiot. I'm such a loser. I always get things wrong. Why am I such an idiot? When you're saying those things to yourself, they're getting deposited into your subconscious. It is not the rational part of your mind. Your subconscious doesn't look at the things you're saying to yourself and think, that's not true. That's not very nice. You're just having a bad day. Nope. Your subconscious is not rational. It just takes in whatever is being said to it. And so if you're entertaining negative thinking, that's getting impressed upon your subconscious, and it's affecting how you look at the world, how you're feeling physically, and what you allow yourself to do. See, if we're talking ourselves out of things, that's going to be too hard. There's going to be a lot of issues. What will other people think? We're going to keep ourselves limited. We're going to keep ourselves stuck. And so our thinking also affects our choices, our behaviors, our decisions, how far we allow ourselves to go in life. And so our thinking impresses upon our subconscious mind. What we tell ourselves over and over eventually becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Somebody gets told one day at school by the teacher, "Oh, you're a terrible artist. You're never any good at art." And so they give up trying, and because they don't try, they don't develop any skill. And so that message, "You're never any going to be any good at art," actually becomes true. Our belief system is important. It affects what we allow ourselves to achieve. It affects how far we go in life. It's also important because we have a portion of our brain called the Reticular Activating System that sees out there in the world whatever is a match for what we hold in our consciousness. Maybe you can relate this to this example. Women out there, if you've ever been pregnant, probably when you were pregnant, you noticed a lot of other pregnant women and all the products meant for pregnant women and all of the services meant for pregnant women. Those things existed before you got pregnant, but suddenly, because it was in your consciousness, that part of your mind was picking up on those cues in your environment, things that prior to that you would have tuned out. Another example, there was a period of time where I wanted this orange Jeep for some reason. I really wanted this vehicle, and everywhere I looked, it seemed like that color, that Jeep was everywhere. Now, again, there were just as many Jeeps before my mind started looking for them. But when you start looking for something, then you see it, like a game of I Spy. If I tell you to look around your room for things that are blue, you'll probably see them everywhere. They'll pop out at you. Wow, there's a lot of blue things in this space. But while you're looking for blue, you're not noticing black or white or yellow or red. You're tuning those things out. So the same thing happens within our brains. If you are looking for how the world is full of bad people doing bad things, that's going to be what you observe out there in the world. When you turn on a news program, you're going to hone in on the stories about bad people doing bad things. That's the game of I Spy you're going to be playing. You're looking for whatever is a match for your belief system. If, on the other hand, you had a belief system that the world is full of good people doing good things, you would have a different experience of the world. When you turn on that same news program, this time you're not going to pay so much attention to the stories about bad guys doing bad things. What's going to catch your attention, the game of I Spy that you'll be playing, is good people doing good things. And so you'll pay attention to the stories about people helping out after a crisis, the Good Samaritans. You'll pay attention to the feel good, heartwarming stories. That's what you'll notice. Now, all of these things exist in the world, but we have to filter out certain information. There's too much to pay attention to at once. So we decide on a subconscious level what's important to pay attention to. And whatever you're telling yourself, that's what you're going to start paying attention to. Now, this is problematic because here is where people really get stuck. Let's say that let's use the example of you have a belief system that the world is full of bad people doing bad things. And so you're playing that particular game of I Spy every time you turn on a news program, every time you're out in the world, every time you're listening to a conversation between people in a grocery store or something, you're hearing about bad people doing bad things. And what that does is it reinforces the belief that you already had that the world is full of bad people doing bad things. When that's what you're looking for, that's what you'll see. And when that's what you'll see, it reinforces that, in fact, that belief is true. So this is where people get stuck. They focus on lack, and all they get is more lack, which proves to them that all there is lack. Or they'll tell themselves how terrible relationships are, and then they'll attract terrible partners who keep reinforcing the belief that terrible relationships are just the norm, right? So, what we tell ourselves also contributes to how we observe the world, what examples we'll notice, what our mind will pay attention to, and what will filter out. You don't want to be filtering out the good stuff. You don't want to be focused on just the bad stuff. This room has every color in it, but if I'm only looking for black, I'm not noticing sunny yellow or vivid pink. I'm only noticing black. So, this is also why what we tell ourselves is important. We're basically programming our subconscious to look for examples of that out in the world. Prove my belief true. Now, we're also creating our own reality with our thoughts. You've probably heard of the law of attraction. The law of attraction says that like attracts like. Our thoughts are like powerful magnets attracting back things of a similar quality. So, this is similar to what I've just described. If you're focusing on lack, you're going to see more examples of lack. That's the energy that you're attuned to, that's what you're observing out there in the world. I believe that every possibility for what you could experience, every potential life that you could live into, anything you could potentially want for yourself already exists right now in the quantum field. It's like a great big catalog, and you can order whatever you want. You order it by aligning with it. You are emitting an energy, and when you are aligned with the energy of that which in the quantum field you wish to attract, you draw it in. So, whatever you've got in your life right now is a reflection of the energy that you've been emitting and what you've been aligning with as a result up to this point. But at any point, you can align with a different thing in the quantum field and draw that in. And so you can create a different reality depending on what you're aligning with. And so manifestation isn't about praying for something from the universe. It's not about doing a certain process to will something or force something into being. It's not about trying to bring something together through the power of your thoughts to materialize something that never existed before. Everything already exists. Manifestation is just about aligning with that which you wish to attract. But this is where it gets a bit tricky. Because in order to attract something from the quantum field, as I said, we need to be in alignment with it. If we're not in alignment with it, we're attracting something else. Kind of like a phone number. If I want to call my mom, there's certain numbers I need to press. If one of those numbers is off, I'm not getting my mom. So if there's something that I want to attract from the quantum field, I need to be in alignment with it. That means what I'm saying to myself, the thoughts I'm entertaining, need to be in alignment with that in the quantum field. That means I need to feel deserving of it. I need to feel worthy of it. I need to feel good enough to have it. If I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I'm good enough to have that relationship, or what will people think if I was a multimillionaire, then I'm not aligning with that I'm attracting or wanting to attract from the quantum field. I'm actually repelling it. Because in order to be in alignment with it, I need to know that I'm deserving of it, right? So, this is also why our thoughts matter. We are manifesting with the thoughts that we entertain. We are powerful creators capable of aligning with any experience we want from the quantum field and bringing that into reality. But in order to do that, we need to be broadcasting a frequency that is, in fact, in alignment with that from the quantum field that we want to attract. This means we need to feel worthy of it, deserving of it, and we need to have positive beliefs about our ability to have it and about the thing itself that we want to have. Let's say that I want to attract a relationship. That's what I'm telling myself. But I saw my parents fight growing up. They broke up. It was a nasty divorce. They put us in the middle of it. It was terrible for everybody. I might be broadcasting with my conscious mind, I want a relationship, but my poor subconscious that wants to protect me is saying, no, no, relationships are danger. Relationships are pain. My subconscious is broadcasting something else entirely. So, whether we have a negative association on a subconscious level or in our conscious mind with that which we wish to attract, or we're telling ourselves, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, it's not okay for me to have that. If we're broadcasting that frequency consciously or subconsciously, then we are not aligned with that which we wish to attract. So, our thoughts are super important. They affect our physiology. They affect what we allow ourselves to have. They affect what we see out there in the world. They affect whether we get stuck in a loop of, I never get to have what I want, or life works out great for me. They affect our ability to manifest our reality and create the reality we desire. Thoughts are super important. If I can help you shift your thinking, that is my superpower. I've been a hypnotherapist since 1999. I always offer a free consultation so we can have a chat first and see if we're a fit. Use the link in the comments or in the description. You'll find it. You're smart. And let's set that up. I'd really love to help you manifest the reality that you desire, feel good in your physical body, and just feel great about your life. It all begins with our thoughts.